Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Teleperformance Live Session. We at TP are committed in making a great workplace for all. And today we are absolutely delighted to be here and talk about International Men's Day. For our viewers, the day is celebrated in more than 80 countries on every 19th of November. Also, in many countries, November is celebrated as Blue Movember to support men's health. And there is a new theme every year. To support the topic, usually themes are making a positive impact on the well-being of men, raising awareness and funds for charities, and very important, promoting positive conversation about men, manhood, masculinity, and men's mental health. To support the topic, we have very special guest teleperformance leaders who have come forward to share their insight about life of men and men's health. Our first guest is Jeffrey Johnson, who is heading HCRM at Teleperformance Philippines. Under his leadership, TP Philippines has been ranked #1 company by Great Place to Work and has also won awards like Great Place to Work, Contact Center, Diversity and Inclusion, and many more. Our second guest for tonight is Zhuao, who is heading HCRM for Teleperformance Portugal. Under Zhuao's leadership, TP Portugal has been Great Place to Work certified 12 times and currently has also been awarded as #1 company to work for in Portugal. Our third guest for tonight is Alejandro Hernandez, who is heading HCRM for Ibero-LATAM. Under his leadership, the region has received more than 60 plus Great Place to Work awards, DNI, and very recently has been awarded as Best Places to Work for Women in Central America and Caribbean for Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, and Dominican Republic. And I am Urvashi Handa, extremely delighted to chair this session with the most inspiring and amazing personalities of teleperformance. All right, let the discussion begin. Jeffrey, who is also known as Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for joining this session. To share with the audience, Jeffrey, apart from being a passionate, committed, and innovative leader, Jeff is very popular on social media and is happily married with 2 pets. He has this huge fan following inside and outside teleperformance. Jeff loves to travel, sing, and write as well. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Urvashi. What an introduction. I appreciate this opportunity to have the conversation. This is a unique subject that I think needs to be talked about a lot more, so I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely, Jeff. And to start with the first question, Jeff, our first question from all of us would be, what has been your secret mantra to manage your work-life balance, to fight the odds and yet being successful in your profession?
You know, that's a very good question, Urvashi, because from my perspective, a lot has been said about work-life balance, especially with working mothers or mothers who are balancing the needs of their children plus work. But very little is said about work-life balance when you talk about men, both those men who may have children or may not have children. And if you look and just do a quick Google search of work-life balance, most of the topics are going to be about women or working mothers. And so this is really good that we're having the conversation to discuss how men can also make sure to prioritize work-life balance. I'd start off with saying, you know, to your question, that I don't think there's anyone that can easily resolve the issue of work-life balance. It is, like the word says, balance, meaning it's a constant process. As soon as you address one area, you'll have another area pop up. So let's say you found a good way to prioritize your email management and you're able to get everything done in a few hours. Suddenly then you'll start having more Zoom meetings then you'll have an issue where a person's got a mental health crisis you have to deal with. And then at home, you know, you'll probably have the same issues as well, where you're able to balance things and eventually things become a little unbalanced. The most important thing is just be able to recognize it and don't stay in that, you know, position of being unbalanced for too long. One of my favorite books is Peaks and Valleys. And this is what us, which is stay in the valleys as short of an amount of time as possible, but recognize that the valleys are going to happen. And I think that's really important, is that we recognize that there is never a perfect solution. It is always going to be a process. And we as leaders need to constantly do that. Because for the sake of the organization, if we're out there burning ourselves out and wearing ourselves thin, we're not going to be able to contribute what we want to long term for the success of the organization. Either we won't be in the organization any longer, or we will not be contributing at the level that we want to contribute at. So there's a lot of opportunity there to balance that out. And the most important thing I would say that I do is just recognize that you're not going to always be perfect, and that's okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. And most importantly, for sharing, balance has to be constant, and it's a constant process. Thank you, Jeff, for sharing this insight. And now we're moving the chair to Zhuao, a very popular, compassionate leader. Zhuao is happily married with a girl and a boy and a beagle. He likes to play golf. Apart from, he is also passionate for music, especially jazz. Something unique, he loves cinema and have collection around 1,500 DVDs. Wow, that's a lot, Zhuao. Thank you for joining, Zhuao. So you have many interests, and our question to you is, who are the men who have inspired you or have been the biggest influence in your life, and why?
That's probably, I would say, one of the toughest questions that you might ask me. And I would say that all the people that I've worked with have inspired me in some ways. Also men and women, of course. But when you look to leaders, I would say that all the leaders that I've worked with, I've learned something. And I've been through several companies in different sectors. And I think that all the companies have different challenges. And picking up also what Jeff is, people inspire me when they are able to find the balance on how to address the topics and how to set priorities. So I would say that all the men leaders that inspire me on that sense, of course, that I've learned a lot from them. But if then I look for a different way, I'm also a sports fan, right? So I played rugby for several years. I surfed a lot throughout my life. So, and I'm amazed for athletes that can stay on a peak for more than 1 or 2 years, then their performance is always on the top level. So if you think of people like Michael Jordan, which is an inspiration sometimes for me, people from surfing like Kelly Slater, which is a guy that was on his peak for more than 20 years and have the honesty and the openness to share with everybody in different ways with people that they were competing and was always on the top independently of the age, are people that really inspiring me on the way that this is a constant movement that you have to do. So it's never enough on that sense, and you're not able, you need to be unsatisfied permanently, so that you can afford and you can progress on your success. Not meaning that you're going higher, but eventually that you stay on the same performance. And that sometimes it's a big challenge, because to achieve results on a constant base, it's always a challenge, because the context changes, you need to adapt, and that there are always situations that you need to either forecast or react in a way that you can adapt. And when I think on these athletes, are people that really amaze me for that sense, and the preparation they do, the routines they have, the focus they have. And these are outstanding qualities that you look in leaders or in persons, and that I bring to myself and try to do my best every day.
Thank you so much, Joao. And very rightly said that constant is the only change in the world, right? Sorry, change is the only constant in the world. My bad. I spoke the other way around. Thank you, Joao. And now we are moving to our third guest, who is also known as Alex, man with integrity, respect, happiness, and fun. He's famous for his smiling face. Alex is happily married with 3 beautiful daughters. He loves to travel and play ice hockey and football. He also likes to collect model aircraft. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Great. So, Alex, my question for you will be on men's mental health. For viewers to know that as per mental health study in UK, 75% of suicides are men. And suicide is one of the biggest cause of death under the age of 35. Alex, so moving to you, what are the three things men can do differently to stay mentally healthy?
Okay, that's a great question, and I'm gonna try to comment what I think are the answers and that they have worked for me. Well, first, I will say that you need to find time for a hobby. You need to find time for yourself. Find an activity that you enjoy and make time for it. I mean, this can have a great effect in our stress levels. For example, in my case, I love sports, as Zhuao mentioned. I love to go every Saturday when I can to see a soccer game of my favorite team that are the Tigers of Monterrey. But I also, in a very religious way, I go and fly my remote control airplanes. So that's great because I disconnect when I'm flying my little airplanes on the air and all the things that you need to do to have them ready and fix them and just flying them and landing them. It's just disconnect me and it's just great. Like when I go to the stadium and see sports or see my Tigers. Another thing that I would recommend is you need to have a support network. Find someone to talk to. Even if it is just one person, I mean, when you're struggling, it can be your partner, a friend, or even a therapist, but find always someone to talk to and to express yourself. I mean, there is no shame in asking for help, or just even, telling them about you. How are you feeling? Where do you want to go? What are the things that you're struggling to? What are the things that you like? I think that's great. I mean, to have a support network or to have someone to talk to. And the third one, I will say, because I can choose a lot of things to do, but it's develop healthy habits. Eating well, getting enough sleep, get moving with any type of exercise, and have mental health practices like journaling, gratitude, or meditation. I mean, there is no greater thing, to relax or to walk or that. I think that's great for me, works a lot. There are amazing free apps that you can use, and even just spending a few minutes every day, you can do a lot of meditation or ease yourself, in a different way. It makes a huge difference. I would say those are three things that I would recommend to do, Urvashi.
Thank you so much, Alex. And I'm sure all of us agree meditation, working healthy is all output of eating healthy, sleeping healthy, staying stress-free. So thank you so much, Alex, for sharing that. And moving back to JJ again. Okay, so JJ, now, our question for you is that you've been really successful in whatever you've done so far. So what will be your advice for all the young and aspiring boys, men would join the company and the organizations?
Well, be prepared to work hard. I think balance is really important. What Alejandro said really resonated very well with me. I would say work hard, but also understand that work is work and life is life. And I think that's really important to being successful in any organization, is having a life outside of work. There's certain types of personalities where their work makes up a big part of who they are. And that's totally normal to have those individuals who have that type of personality. But even for those individuals, it's really important that you have a certain level or a level of balance there. I'm one of those people. Like, teleperformance is so much of who I am as a person. But I also realize and need to have something other than work to help me really make work worth it. And so I would say, at the end of the day, be prepared to work hard, know what motivates you, what is the reason that we're here at Teleperformance every single day, and just go out there and get it. I mean, there's so much opportunity at this company. It has been, such a blessing to so many people for so long, and I just am excited about this next generation of leaders and individuals coming into the company. I know that there's a lot of opportunity for all of them.
Thank you so much, Jeff. And yes, hardworking and smart working wins the race. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jeff. Okay, so moving to Zhuao. So Zhuao, a lot of people look up to you, all right? And it's a very tricky question. I don't know if you'll be comfortable to share, but do you get depressed and do you cry sometimes as a man?
Yeah, so first part of the question, do I get depressed? Yes, a lot, because it's part of your process. So, and I don't see it on a negative way. I think when we use the word depression, it's always in the clinical status or always on a negative point of view. But sometimes you need to get down in order to get up. So you need to depress on a way that what you need to work on the back of your head, so to speak, in order to push you forward. So sometimes there's an expression that sometimes you need to take a step back in order to take two forward. And I think it's all about that. So if I depress, yes, I depress the times that I need to depress. And the thing and the most important, I would say, or the strategy that I think it's the most relevant is how do you transform that energy to achieve something? Instead of going back and focus only on the issue itself, is how do you focus on solutions? And again, to focus on solutions and to find solutions, you will need to depress. That's normal. That's human behavior, so to speak. So I think that at the end of the day is how do you transform that energy and how you move it forward. And that's the first part of the answer. The second part, if I cry, yes, I cry a lot. Tears of joy and tears of happiness, first and foremost. I'm like Alejandro, I'm a football player, football fan. So if we win a trophy, tears will come to your eyes. I think there's, like, as you said, I'm a fan of movies, right? And I think movies provoke a lot of emotions on you. And I'm not saying that you cry just because you need to share some tears. It's a question of the emotion that is behind. And it can be proud, it can be happiness, it can be because you're laughing so much that your tears will start to move, or it can be sadness. And sometimes you're entitled to be sad as well. So if you need to share some tears, why not? You should feel free on that. I think then the question would be, is there any context where it's right or wrong? I think that depends a lot from person to person. If you ask me, do I cry a lot? No, I don't. But internally, the emotions are there, and I leave my emotions to the fullest, independently of what I'm doing. If it's in the job, it's the energy I put into the stuff I do. If it's with my family, it's a little bit different. If it's in my sports and the frustration around golf, for example, when I'm not playing that good, it also happens. So it's the emotion behind that we need to handle it. And sometimes you can do it more freely, others you can't do it so freely, but you need to work it around, and I think it's okay to do on that sense.
Thank you so much, Zhuao, for such beautifully articulating it and making this world so open and sharing with everyone that even if you cry, that's okay. As a man, you're born as a human, you're entitled for every emotion in life, and let's embrace every emotion of life. Thank you so much, Zhuao.
You're welcome.
All right, so now moving to Alex again. As a man, what are the challenges that you face and how do you overcome them? So, as a woman, I know what are my challenges, and we've spoken a lot many times while doing TP Women and, while driving TP Women. But as a man, would love to know your challenges and how do you overcome them?
Well, I think we have a lot of challenges. And I will say, just to say a few words on that question, is men in our societies are expected to be strong, to never cry, and to be the breadwinner. And like Joao was mentioning, and Jeff and Jeffrey, we do cry sometimes. We do need to see in ourselves and get frustrated and do different ways of getting better. But even with that, I will say that even when more women are working now, it is still expected that men are the main providers for the family. This can take a toll on our mental health, of course, because we were never taught to express our emotions, and in general, there is less support for mental health. We are expected to tough it out, right? So yes, I mean, we do cry, we do frustrate ourselves, and we do things like the ones that I just mentioned. I have overcome these challenges thanks mainly to my family. Like you mentioned, I am married to a wonderful woman, and I have 3 daughters. They have taught me so much, and they are always there for me whenever I am struggling and need someone to talk to. I mean, the 4 women that I have in my home in a different way, you know. Of course, with my partner, with my wife, I talk different issues, but I'm learning to talk with different with the 3 different daughters that I have in a different way, and they help me always. I learn from them things, you know. These centennials people now, they're moving so fast, so they help me catch up with what is happening. The other thing that I will say that we have a challenge in ways of overcome those type of challenges are love what you do, have fun, and always look for things to improve and do better. Be passionate about it. Look for new ways of managing and creating new things. I mean, I was telling you that I talk with my daughters. I mean, I learn a lot from them. I learn a lot from my partners, from my colleagues in work, but always try to look for new things to do. So those are the things that I would say are the challenges, and that is how I have overcome some of them. And I still, you know, every day overcome things like Zhuao was mentioning, you know, the you need to not just get there. I mean, maintain yourself. That's a big challenge. So that will be my comments.
Thank you so much, Alex, and very well articulated again that, you know, family and support system around men. And to be very honest, we expect so much from men, and we expect them to tough it out all the time. And we forget that even men are humans, right? So thanks a million to all our speakers today for coming forward and sharing so much insight with all of us in this short session. Hope we can help many and inspire many to take care of their health. There are times we expect a lot from men. Men are like any other humans. We need to encourage them to talk, to cry, embrace their emotions. Let's encourage them to talk. We hope with this short session, we were able to encourage our men to take care of their health and well-being. Your health is very important. Prevention is always better than cure. And thank you for watching this. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. And hopefully we can together make this a better place to work for.